Hello and welcome to my final presentation for EDU 526. I hope you enjoy. For a little bit of history about how I ended up here at APU, I'll start in 2003. I completed my bachelor's degree in business management, and in 2008 I started the single subject program here at APU. And after that, the economy kind of crashed out, so I actually completed only 1 year and then resumed the program in the fall of 2014. I originally started the program with only the single subject master's in mind, but after resuming the program in 2014, I decided that the program for digital teaching and learning was much more relevant to today's teachers than a standard single subject program, and I'm very glad that I did. I have always had a passion for learning. That's why the schoolhouse is on this particular part of this presentation. I've always found that school is my favorite place to be. It's my favorite place to learn. It's my favorite place to be at, whether I'm volunteering for my own children, whether I'm teaching, whether I'm a student. School is my favorite place in the whole wide world. I consider this phase of my life kind of like my third act. I spent 10 years working in business, and then after that I spent 10 years as a stay-at-home mom and volunteer, and now that I am starting a teaching career, I feel like this is like kind of the third part of my adult life, and I'm very excited and very interested in learning to become the best teacher possible, as well as the best teacher of technology and the use of technology in the classroom. I'm very excited about all of the things that are relevant now and all of the openings that are available for use of technology in the classroom. A few of the things that I found extremely interesting in technology as far as this program is concerned is particularly the use of the SAMR model, understanding the difference between substituting technology for things that we already do versus completely redoing a unit to reflect the use of technology. I really enjoy screencasting. I've had a good time using that in various projects. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to actually use it in the classroom. Here is an example of the beginning of a screencast that I did for another class. It was on how to create a template. Okay, so today we're talking about, like I said, how to create a template. So this is an interesting process because it takes a little bit of time, but you only have to do it once. And after that, you'll be able to use this template for all papers that require this type of formatting. So I always try to take a little bit of time when I have to write a new style of paper to create a template because it just makes my life easier. I really think that the idea of a flipped classroom is amazing. I think that the future of a flipped classroom in today's technologically advanced schools is an opportunity for teachers to be more facilitators of the learning than directly instructing the learning. And I'm very excited for the fact that apps are so relevant now. There's so many education apps. There's so many different things that students can use to facilitate their learning independently or with the help of the teacher or in doing projects. Everything is so available to our students so that they are able to create things that we could have never dreamed of before. For my self-study for this class, I actually did a study in laundry, and I know that that's not directly related to education, but it helped me learn a lot about my family and our habits and helped me to kind of view laundry from a different perspective. My research question was, will washing one load per day be enough to keep up with the laundry of my entire family? And how much time does it actually take to do a week's worth of laundry for my family? And the data that I found was very interesting. You can see from this data chart that for my family of 5, it takes approximately, for any given week, about 135 minutes, which would be 2 hours and 15 minutes of time to fold and put away laundry. That's doing an average of 7 loads a week, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. It's a long time. And what I discovered by doing this data collection for this particular project was that I think I would rather spend 2.5 hours while watching a movie with my family on a Saturday afternoon folding clothes and putting them away than to be preoccupied by the thought of doing laundry every day of the week. But it really depends because there's so many things going on. So much of my time is accounted for that I really felt that the process of this self-study was a little bit overwhelming for me to focus on something every single day. I think that the self-study for me would have been more effective in the classroom because it would have facilitated a change in the classroom where I have a set structure for every day versus trying to structure it around my life, which tends to be extremely busy. I initiated my self-study by basically giving each member of my family 1 day a week to do their laundry and then counting how long it took to fold and put away their clothes. As you can see through these pie charts for each week of the data that I collected, it was a lot of time spent. It was fairly equally distributed. For my youngest son, whose clothes are much smaller, his loads held a lot more clothes. For my older son, I actually had to do 2 loads for him. It was a very different type of timetable for each person, but overall the numbers were fairly consistent. It was about probably 20 minutes on average per person to do their laundry and put it away per day. And unfortunately, sometimes I felt like it was 20 minutes I didn't have in my day. Overall, I really enjoyed doing the self-study. I felt like the data, collecting the data, all of that stuff really helped me to analyze things better. I think that it'll help me have a better future perspective, and I look forward to implementing a self-study in the future in the classroom. Here is my curricular unit that I completed for this class. The goal of this unit was to have students understand the difference between external and internal conflicts and to be able to identify those things within various situations and texts. The first goal of this unit was that students would be able to define conflict. The second goal was that the students would be able to create a comic strip that explains the relationship between man and the elements of conflict in the world. The third goal would be that the students would be able to sort scenarios depicting conflict into their respective categories and create new scenarios that depict conflict. The fourth goal was that students would be able to analyze the relationship between the characters in the short story Amigo Brothers by Piri Thomas and to identify the type of conflicts that were presented in the short story. The fifth goal of this unit was that the students would be able to synthesize the information from the literary text as well as other additional informational texts to show a command of their understanding of conflict in the creation of a final project. Standards for this project that will be included in this unit were the CCSS standards for reading informational texts as well as reading for literature at the 7th grade level. Additionally, all 4 of the main ISTE standards were addressed. This unit had many assessments. The first one was an informal diagnostic assessment using Kahoot! To identify students' previous knowledge of conflict and what they understood of the various types of conflict. The second assessment was a little bit more formal. It was a project that the students used. They created a comic strip that explained the relationship between man and the elements. They did this on Storyboard That using tablets and laptops to create a 3-paned comic strip that represented each of the 4 types of conflict: man versus self, man versus nature, and man versus society. Additionally, the students used Padlet to sort the various types of conflict into their main categories, and this was also used as a checking for understanding to verify that students understood man versus self, which would be the focus of the final project. Thank you for taking your time to listen to my final presentation for EDUC 526.